Who could play Flashman if ever there was a new big-budget Hollywood movie? It's not every day a character like Harry comes along for an actor to get his teeth into, so who on earth could take on the role? In this packet, we'll take a look at the contenders and find someone with the wit, charm, ruthlessness and damn-your-eyed swagger who could take on Flashman.
Oh, hello, Flashman. Oh, hello, East. Do these Latin verses for me.
If I must.
And just why didn't you come when I called?
Because you're not in the sixth form and you've got no right to fag us.
Oh, I haven't I?
Oh, you leave him alone.
And why must I leave him alone, my little man?
Because it's bullying, that's what it is.
And Mr. Brown doesn't approve of bullying.
No, of course I don't.
We've already had one attempt at Flashman as an adult and a few for when he was at school. But as I discussed in a previous packet, it's unlikely we'll see another Flashman film. But let's not let that get in the way of picking some of our favourites. Unfortunately, the last few years have seen some of the greats go to the big screen in the sky. So in the interest of fantasy, I'll ignore that fact and include a few dead ones in the running orders.
Damnation. Have you tarts been marking this deck?
I have to say, Malcolm McDowell, who played Harry in the 1975 film Royal Flash, didn't make the grade for me. He was far too slapstick and openly cowardly for my liking, and he was too short and weedy. Flashy is a tall, stalwart figure, who when he gets scared goes red in the face, which others mistake for anger. Now, an actor takes direction in their part, and depending on who they are and who the director is, it can leave little room for manoeuvre. Whereas with someone like Bill Murray, it's very different. In lots of appearances, he just ad-libs. He doesn't even have an agent, and if you want to cast him, you need to leave a recorded message on a phone line he's set up. You've got to love Bill, but no, he's not on the list. Some actors, like Clint Eastwood, just play themselves in various roles, but some actors can truly create a real three-dimensional person. So anyway, bearing all that in mind, here's my shortlist in no particular order, except for the one I'll crown Sir Harry Paget Flashman at the end. So here we go. Timothy Dalton. The only one of the Bonds I think I would consider, and it would be about the time he was in The Rocketeer. Mainly because I can't think I can get the others out of my head for being Bond. He has the height, good looks, and can carry off a set of cavalry whiskers no problem. He's played a villain, can sword fight, and can be charming. No problem with the English accent either. I don't think I would cast him though, as he hasn't got the box office pull, and he didn't really make the Bond role his own. So not for me, young shaver. Robert Downey Jr. Surprisingly, I really enjoyed his Sherlock Holmes to Jude Law's Watson. I like my Holmes to be a little unhinged, which he did in Aces. That coupled with the action scenes and very good English accent, I think Downey Jr. could really do well with the hidden terror always just below Harry's surface. He can also play debauchery. But he's only 5'7", although they managed to make the Hobbits 3 foot tall in Lord of the Rings, so who cares about that? Like Flashy, Downey Jr. has improved with age, and his comedy acting in Tropic Thunder was brilliant. But again, no medals on this one. I just couldn't see Harry liking him. Rik Mayall. One of my personal favourites and probably the first name I put on the sheet. With all the characters under his belt, he could easily top Malcolm McDowell. Flashheart in Blackadder gives us the good-looking, womanising adventure hero worshipped by all, even the Queen of England. Sounds familiar? And even the name isn't far off. He played Alan Bastard in The New Statesman with his crafty evil-doing and ruthlessness in taking advantage of any situation or anyone to further himself and save his own skin. My only problem with Rick is I think it would be a full-on comedy. And as hilariously funny as it would be, we would miss out on the history and action and subtleties that Fraser had worked in. I knew someone who went to school with Rik Mayall, and they said what you see on the telly was exactly how he was all the time. I wish I went to school with Rik Mayall. So perhaps Rick might do a good TV character series of Flashman.
We're being overrun. Need more fire support.
Where's that bounder Bombardier Bedford?
Bedford! I'm just coming! I have got to skedaddle, Mercy. There is a battle that needs winning.
Oh, are you okay?
I'm fine. Just the odd swelling.
Now bloody time. Where the blazes have you been?
Oh, just enjoying a quick one down the old bush and fiddle. Incoming! Don't worry. I'll handle this. up! Fire! Bang on! Right, lads! That's the war one. Let's celebrate with a pint of me! Huzzah!
There is nothing like a pint of Bombardier. English, ever reliable, and damn tasty. A bit like me.
So as much as it seems an obvious choice, he's not a big enough star for me, and no one could keep a straight face. Clean, bold male, but surely a cameo as James Brooke. Rowan Atkinson. Now, I'm not thinking here of Mr. Bean or Johnny English. I'm thinking some of his best moments as Edmund Blackadder. He can be crafty, evil and bloody funny, and again, even the Queen loves him. But like Rick, I think we would suffer from the comedy slant. Rowan Atkinson could certainly play a more straight part than Rick, but I don't think he could carry off the stylish action hero very well. He certainly isn't stalwart enough, but his cutting wit would be delicious. I can imagine some good scenes of him playing a similar role to the Prince Regent's butler with generals and their staff.
Take Baldrick off the spit. I've got a plan so cunning you could put a tail on it and call it a weasel.
So it's back to the pavilion with Rowan. Robert Shaw. An outsider for me, but with great form. He was a very fine actor, and he starred in some great films. He has played a Bond villain in From Russia with Love, a fighter pilot in the Battle of Britain, and a German Panzer commander, and interestingly, even George Custer. But for me, his crowning glory is one of the best scenes in one of my most favourite films, Quint in Jaws. His monologue about the sinking of the USS Indianapolis is movie history. Shaw edited down the original text and brought it to life. So much so that when Dreyfuss played his part in the scene, he said he didn't need to act. He just couldn't take his eyes from Shaw. Shaw has a lot of the credentials, but when called on, could he play the funny scenes? I don't know. So I'd have to say farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies this time. Hugh Jackman. A quick side note on this one. I think we'd have to include Jackman, if only for the cavalry whiskers he sports as Wolverine. But I just can't see him playing the sneaky self-preserving side of Harry. So, not for me. Johnny Depp. I don't think we could build this list without including the Anglophile Johnny Depp. His pirate captain Jack Sparrow is excellent, and he's played a few Victorian English parts. And for me, he even gets a nod for turning up in the Far Show sketch with Paul Whitehouse.
Sorry, sir, I was just cupping an imaginary pair of breasts. Good morning, sir. How are we today, sir? Fine, I'm fine, thank you. Radiant. Radiant, as you English people like to say.
He played Mordecai, which I thought was a wasted opportunity, as that series of books are brilliant. He can certainly do action films, can definitely do comedy, and can pull off the accent. And because of his love of all things English, I think he would do the role justice. Depp is near the top of the pile. Jude Law. Jude Law did a great Watson to Downey Jr.'s Holmes. In it, he played a Victorian soldier who served in the Afghan. He could do a good scoundrel and has the looks, if perhaps a little too fair-haired. Or would the magic of makeup sort that out? He's probably got the box office pull, and I think this part could be the making of him. So overall, a strong bet, but coward's instinct on this one is telling me no. Errol Flynn. George MacDonald Fraser made 2 suggestions as players for Flashman. One was Errol Flynn. I've never seen Flynn in a film, but I'm sure I heard a rumour somewhere he has a massive chopper. So that's 2 qualifying traits for the job alone. Put that with his looks, box office pull, and ability to hold a sword, and he has to be close. But I can't cast him if I haven't seen him act, so it's cheerio, Errol. The second suggestion by Fraser was Ollie Reed. Now, you've got to love Ollie Reed. He was a great actor, and I don't think we really got to see the best of him due to, well, I don't know, one thing or another. He had the looks, the airs, the dastardliness, the Englishness, and I think the versatility to move between humour, action, and moments of seriousness when necessary. He also played Athos in the Musketeer films, which George MacDonald Fraser wrote the screenplays for. Apparently, Ollie loved playing Bismarck in Royal Flash, so perhaps it would be difficult to cast him as anything else in a Flashman universe. But he would have been a great old General Flashman, being drunk and disorderly in clubs and upsetting the other members. So perhaps it's a no for Flash in his adventures, but possibly a yes for old age. Right then, before I reveal my vote for the best bounder ever to grace a silver screen, I thought we should have a few honourable mentions. I've got a twofer here with Brian Blessed.
Gordon's alive?
He could play the Basher Falaka from On the March, a member of General Napier's staff that once was asked to wrestle a lion by Queen Mestiat, or, and probably a better shout, Count Penchajevsky in Flashman at the Charge. How about Count Ignatieff, played by Steven Berkoff? He's played 2 Russian villains and he's great on screen.
You are strong. Very strong. The strongest so far. But you're nearly dead. For what? Make the radio call.
I could easily see Berkoff showing Flashy the knouting to death for that poor unfortunate serf. Just plain evil. How about Stephen Fry reprising his role of Wellington, or perhaps as Lord Cardigan?
Hang on! This is bloody coffee! I ordered tea! Bloody fool, aren't you? I'd heard everywhere that the Prince was the imbecile, whereas his servant Blackadder was respected about the town. Now that I discover the truth, I'm disposed to beat you to death. Tea!
Tell me, do you ever stop bullying and shouting at the lower orders?
Never! There's only one way to win a campaign. Shout, shout, and shout again!
You don't think, then, that inspired leadership and tactical ability have anything to do with it?
No! It's all down to shouting!
I think we could have Sean Bean play Sergeant Hudson, whose laurels Flashy stole at Piper's Fort in the first Flashman packet, and I'm sure there's a role in here for Michael Palin as a soldier in one of the Indian armies.
Don't stand there, Gorpin! Like you've never seen Yander God before!
And what do you think about Albert Finney as Captain John Charity Spring, M.A.?
Welcome to Scotland.
That would be a great part. Anyway, back to the main event. So let's recap on what we're looking for. A bully, a liar, a womaniser, a coward and irresistible. A great actor, he needs to be tall, good looking, funny, crafty, charming, clever, and someone I could see as Harry Flashman. So here it is. Alan Rickman. Now Alan, I think, has it all. His performance in Die Hard was one of the most believable screen villains I've ever seen. And with his acting ability, it would be easy for him to toady up to royalty and dish out dirty turns where necessary with a sneer. Harry is a complex character, which no one really knows, and he describes himself as an excellent actor, so we would need someone who could convey to the audience that he is scared out of his wits whilst he maintains his stiff upper lip to those that are dropping him into the soup again. How could that be done? I'm not sure, but a fine actor like Rickman would be the basis. So there you have it, my picks on who can play Flashman, but what do you think? How about sharing some of your own in the comments below? I'd love to hear from you in Flashman style. And if you want to see more of these videos, then why not hit that subscribe button? And if you like what you saw here, how about giving us a plucky thumbs up? And remember, would you like nuts or cigars?